Welcome to 230 Dudes. I'm Antonio Harrison.
And I'm Charles Schuling.
And this week we're going to be talking about a recent hot topic of the Boy Scouts of America making a new ruling.
Yes, they decided this week, just on Monday, that they're going to allow gay men to be troop leaders or scoutmasters within the program, which had previously been banned for about 70 years.
Even gay members or gay scouts were banned, right?
Gay scouts were until 2 years ago, in which they passed a ruling that gay scouts could participate in the activities, but there was still a ban on gay scout leaders. And this is something that even went to the Supreme Court back in the year 2000. A scout leader was expelled from the program for being gay, for being openly gay, and he took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in a 5-4 decision that you can, in fact, as a private institution, ban gay people or someone that doesn't cohere with your beliefs because of the First Amendment and the right to associate.
5-4.
5-4.
I would have thought it would have been a bigger gap than that, right?
Yeah, 5-4.
Okay. So why don't you tell us what the newest ruling says? Because now they can have gay scout members, correct?
Yes. So as an organization, the Boy Scouts of America does allow gay scout leaders as of this last Monday. But the way that Boy Scouts is organized is kind of like a franchise. There are different groups, and they're hosted by organizations. Most troops are hosted by churches.
Okay.
And so in the new ruling, they stated something along the lines of it has to affirm the ability of selected leaders in line with religious principles. So if a church itself does not allow gays or does not recognize gays or does not condone being gay, then they can not allow gay scout leaders for their particular troop.
See, and I'm going to rely on Charles for his expertise on this because he's a former Eagle Scout. Or do you always stay in
Eagle Scout for life?
For life?
Eagle Scout for life. Yeah, no, I did the whole program. I went all the way up through it. I got my Eagle Scout right after I turned 16 years old. And to me, Boy Scouts was a really big part of my life. Like, I got a lot of skills. I learned a lot of things. And it opens a lot of doors and opportunities and even just knowledge in terms of being a young, developing boy.
And though I was kicked out of Boy Scouts on my first day, I have had upwards of 4 to 5 kids on my football team who became Eagle Scouts. And these were some of the most honorable young men I've ever met before in my life. So they must be doing something right.
It is. It's kind of a coveted thing to go all the way to Eagle. In fact, only 5% of Boy Scouts in the country make it all the way to Eagle. And I will say from my own experience that I have never once been in a job interview in my life where I wasn't asked about it because I listed on my resume.
Nice.
Every single job interview I have ever gone to has asked me about my Eagle Scout.
So let's dive into this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The ruling is stating if the religious faction does not believe in homosexuality,
right,
therefore they can ban it within the Boy Scouts troop that they host.
Correct. So some examples of that might be a Catholic church or a Mormon church. The Church of Latter-day Saints donates 17% of all the donations that come to Boy Scouts come from the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Oh.
And they do not recognize homosexuality.
Okay. What's really the problem here?
I'm going to be honest, and I think this might sound a little blunt, but I think that a lot of people just make an immediate association with gay people and pedophilia. They assume that a gay man in charge of a bunch of little kids is going to do something inappropriate, whereas I think most gay people or all gay people have the same restraint that straight people have.
Very true.
But that's not the connotation that a lot of Americans have.
And the sad thing is a lot of our communities, the different cultures in society have instilled and conditioned that belief. But homosexuality is not synonymous with pedophilia.
In any way, shape, or form.
I would be completely offended if someone said I couldn't coach their young daughter because they thought I would be a pedophile.
Right. And I also think that's a really self-centered way to see things. Like, oh, people want to molest my child. Or people, or, it even comes back around to the old locker room argument. Like, do you want a gay man in the locker room with you? Well, I mean, if you think that every single person's trying to check you out naked, but it's just like you're making it all about you.
Yeah, no, it's not about you.
It's not.
It's about this troop leader who wants to help these young men.
Exactly.
Yes.
And Boy Scouts really focuses on service in your community. It focuses on skills for life, both social skills and survival skills. It's a whole range of things that they teach, and it's a really great opportunity and place for boys to broaden their knowledge. And if somebody has the desire to volunteer their time to teach that to children, then let them do it no matter what their sexual orientation is.
And isn't a huge thing about Boy Scouts honor and integrity?
It is. It really is.
I mean, so, and I'm assuming, I know the process you have to go through to become an Eagle Scout. So to become a troop leader, I would assume, has got to be twice as hard.
I'm sure that there's a lot of requirements involved, and there's really specific guidelines that you have to follow and stick to. I mean, you're there truly to instill values.
Now, here's my issue. It's not so much about the troop leader.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, where I fall on this argument is more with the child.
Okay.
So, at what age do you start going on outdoor sleepovers?
Probably about 10.
See, because for me, it's four things here. One, can my child say no to an adult, right? Two, do they know what is sexually inappropriate?
Mm-hmm.
Three, can they defend themselves or run away and know the process of going to find help if something should happen? And will they feel comfortable enough to come and talk to me as their father if something should happen, which is on me to be able to build that type of relationship.
Right.
But it has nothing to do with whether or not the troop leader is gay.
Right. It's whether or not he's a pedophile.
A pedophile,
Right.
yeah.
And so I think that those are really valid concerns, and that's kind of where you gauge that thing. So from my experience, you know, when I was 10, I probably knew right from wrong, but not as well as when I was 13, say.
Right.
That's a pretty pivotal time, middle school.
Very true.
But I would say that on the beginning outings, maybe 10, 11, almost every single dad went on those. And I don't think it was because of a fear of pedophilia so much as it was just a fear of their child being out in nature unsupervised.
With, 20 other kids?
Right.
And one adult.
Exactly. And how easy is it for a kid to sneak out of a tent as opposed to someone's house? You know what I mean? Like,
think about going on field trips at school.
Right.
How easy was it for you to do something you weren't supposed to do?
Right. And I mean, the core part of those young Boy Scout trips is playing with fire and knives.
See?
I mean, that is all that you do at that age
Okay.
because you get to take a knife out, you know? And so I think that there's more of a fear of what children are going to get into. But because of that, the parents are present.
Yeah. Now, the other issue, though, is this ruling still allows for prejudice.
Oh, absolutely. It just takes the prejudice off the Boy Scout shoulders and lays it onto the churches.
Onto the churches, exactly. So, however, people or the church, they do have a right to believe whatever they want to believe, right? And not only that, but people are allowed to do whatever they want to do with their children.
Absolutely.
The key is, as long as what they're choosing isn't to the detriment or purposefully harmful to another individual, right? To that individual who's the gay troop leader.
Sure.
Doesn't mean it's right
Correct, yes.
if the religion doesn't allow it,
Right.
or if the parent doesn't want to allow their kid to go.
Exactly right.
But that is their choice. That's the religious choice. That's also the choice of a parent. And you can't tell me what to do with my kids.
No.
Now, for me, I don't care if the troop leader's gay or not. I just care whether or not my son is mature enough to go into the wilderness with 20 other boys as well as a grown adult and just be able to tell me exactly what they did on their trip.
Right. Right. And I think that that's really what it comes down to with parenting in general on these types of things is that you have to be confident that your kid is of age and knowledgeable enough to understand the right and the wrong of those situations. And I think that responsibility lies with the parent to make the judgment call of when their child is at that point in their life, when they're able to do that, as opposed to just creating a fear out of some kind of unrelated or side issue and making that the central point when it really isn't at all.
Now, what would you say to someone who is gay, who would want to be a troop leader, but is part of, say, the Catholic religion? I mean, my thing is, fight the good fight if that's who you are and what you want to do. But if your passion is really to be a troop leader, as you fight the good fight, go find another troop to lead.
Exactly. You don't have to be a member of the church in which you lead the troop from. That's just where the meetings are hosted.
And that doesn't mean you have to give up your religious beliefs of Catholicism.
Right.
It just means that in the meanwhile, while you're fighting the good fight, you can continue to work with these children and enjoy your passion of helping young men grow into, or helping young men become great citizens
Exactly.
in America.
And I couldn't agree more because there are people that are Catholics and gay and they choose to continue their belief in the religion regardless of the fact that they're, to a degree, alienated from that religion in which they believe.
We'll say this one more time. homosexuality is not synonymous with pedophilia.
At all.
At
all.
It's just a ridiculous concept to even try to equate the two.
I agree. And I think that anybody that might be watching this that does have that kind of fear, that thinks, oh, I don't want my child belonging in a Boy Scout troop that has a gay leader, you need to stop and think maybe about what it is you're thinking. What is the association you're making? Why is that fear within you? And then maybe take it back a few steps and see where that comes from.
Very true. For me, I just wish they would have let me go past the first day. That's 230 Dudes.
Have a good night. I think that's probably good.